It is a heartbreaking story that Fox 13 News first broke back in December. The 5-year-old girl missing from Grays Harbor County is now getting a national spotlight.
Say lasagna.
The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children getting involved and making this video of Oakley Carlson. The sheriff's office saying they hope this exposure will lead to more tips and leads. Detectives so far have been disappointed with the lack of information that's been coming in. Carlson was first reported missing back in December, but detectives have since learned that the only credible sighting of her was exactly a year ago today. Her biological parents are behind bars, both suspects in her disappearance. Although they are being held right now in jail on unrelated charges, the sheriff's office is asking anyone to please come forward with information if you know something.
Hey, did that stick on y'all? Because it stuck on me on my end. And I don't know if you got all of that or not. We wanted to play that at the beginning of that. Did you see it or was it gibbery? Anybody tell me? I don't. Was it kind of jerky or were you able to see the whole thing? Did it run? It is raining like cats and dogs here, and we're kind of in a bowl, and we don't have power or anything, so we're operating off solar. But if it's raining, we don't have a lot of solar, so our batteries are charged up. We're running the generator a little bit right now. Okay, great. I'm glad y'all saw it. Good. But we're hoping that we will have no problems here reporting about this little girl, because I haven't heard much about this girl.
Gang said wish
And
Brittany a happy birthday. That's his wife.
Okay, happy birthday, Brittany. I want to ask you how old you are.
Can I have my seat?
Maggie's in Dina's seat. Let's see Maggie.
Can I sit down? Will you get down and let me sit down? Get down. Good girl. Hey guys.
Happy birthday, Brittany.
Brittany.
Yeah, we hope we're able to stay online tonight. It is raining like crazy, and like I said, we are kind of down inside a bowl, and we didn't have any solar today to speak of, so we're charging our batteries with the generator right now, which that's what it is right now. A few minutes you can turn
Maggie,
it off.
stop. You're getting into the garbage and everything.
Medina's leaving me tomorrow. She is
not forever. It will be the longest we've been apart in
a long time. Since you went to Spain.
And that was 10.
No. You were gone.
Oh.
You were gone 4 or 5 days last couple of years. Yeah, you went somewhere. I don't know. You went somewhere.
Mm-mm. Nope. I went when the kids were in school. I would go to mom and dad's for the week.
Yeah, but it's been a little while anyway. But she's going to
Gang's wife Brittany is 25. Sorry.
Wow.
Well, see, I'm 25 and holding 40 years experience. Yeah, I'm 25 and holding 40 years experience.
Anyway, she's going to the Georgia mountains with her cousins, and they're going to have a great time. And me and the dogs are going to stay here, and we're just going to have a good time too, as long as it doesn't rain us in every day. We'll go for walks in the woods, and we'll have a good time. You watching this, or you watching that?
I'm watching I'm answering them. They're saying hey to me, and
okay.
Hey.
I was telling Dina just a minute. I got to see. She does her ball again. I was telling Dana they had. Oh man, I threw it down there. Grace and they had.
Okay.
They had a woman woke up the other day and went, thought she had a burglar in the house, and it was her lab trying to find his missing ball about
That wasn't
2,
me.
3 o'clock in the morning.
That wasn't me.
No. Anyway, I do want to discuss this this case, and we can talk about the cause of why this girl is missing. I believe could be a bunch of factors, but one thing is I wanted to play this other little video of.
Okay, let me say something real
Okay.
quick. For those of you that are new on here and you haven't been or you don't know what's going on, if you catch me laughing or smiling about, and he happens to be saying something that doesn't seem like it should be smiled or laughed about, it's the dogs and the cat. Maggie is playing ball with herself right now. So, anyway.
What is that, a towel then? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's
Sorry.
what it is.
Oakley Carlson's parents are expected in court accused of withholding medication from one of their other children. Now, this is not related to Oakley's disappearance last year, which is still under investigation, but a hearing before her parents go to trial on child endangerment charges next month. Oakley's mom, Jordan Bowers, is scheduled to appear with her dad, Andrew Carlson, slated to appear at 9. Of course, we're keeping an eye on this hearing as it gets started, and we'll bring you any updates.
No, not. Yep.
Did I
I guess
cut
so,
it?
yeah.
Okay. I couldn't hear it. It was frozen on my end, so I don't know if I cut you off or not. But what it amounts to is this child was taken out of these parents' home because they have a meth problem and put with foster care. But the judge returned them, or somebody decided it was okay and returned them to the family. And thus the child went missing. There's other siblings involved, but if you can see this, these people are, the dad just pled guilty to neglect of other siblings, and this is apart from this case, because he got all methed up and exposed to their kids to chemical endangerment.
No. Get down. Get down. Down.
She's a jealous
I don't
girl.
know what you want.
But I'm gonna show you this, and
Maggie.
Maggie.
Oh
Oh,
my
my-
gosh. She is totally in my
Hold
lap.
on just a minute. This is what we have to deal with when we're online. I don't know what. Usually when we're watching, no, Maggie. Usually when we're watching TV or doing something, she's not like this. I don't know if it's because I'm talking
Okay, well, listen.
that the issue is or
All
not.
right, well, I'll get her off in just a second. She'll have her due.
Okay.
Alexandra said her sibling, Oakley's sibling said Oakley is no more.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that, what the mother told the siblings, which in itself is, at the very least, is cruel, what she said. But, Maggie, you can't get on top of the computer. That's not going to work. No. Hold on.
I don't know what the problem is.
I don't know what the problem is either. It's not thundering outside.
Okay, get down.
Maggie,
No,
get down.
down.
Let her sit right here. But that's fine. She'll sit right here.
Oh my
She weighs 85 pounds, so it's not like a little
gosh. Okay,
issue.
lay down.
I don't know what her
Stay.
problem is.
Okay,
but-
stay.
If she'll stay right here,
Stay.
she'd be fine. But
Oh.
I don't think she will. You want to come lean over this way, or you want me to just do it either way?
They
It
don't
doesn't
need to
matter.
see me.
But anyway,
They'll hear my voice and see part of my head.
okay.
Yeah, they're just like kids. They demand
You know,
attention.
they are, this one especially. Said here, siblings of the missing girl said that she was eaten by wolves. And to where they got this from is this is what the mother told their siblings, that she went to the woods and she got eaten by wolves. Now, even if something crazy like that had happened, why would you tell your the other children that your sister got eaten by wolves. You know, it doesn't make any sense to me, even if it was true, which I don't think it is. But so the parents claim last time they saw her alive was November 30th of 2021. However, investigators have said there's some evidence that she was not even seen within the last year alive. Um, the parents have given no indication that Oakley is in the care of an adult and cannot account for her whereabouts or condition. And said investigators believe Oakley could be or would be unable to survive if she was on her own for the length of time. However, now they're coming back and they think by some means that she may be alive. Oakley's parents, Jordan Bowers, Andrew Carlson, have been focus of an investigation since the child was reported missing in December of 2021. Investigators have been able to piece together that she was last seen on February of 2021. So basically, almost a whole year. She's just a beautiful little child. Beautiful little child.
Karen says that this Oakley case reminds her of the two little West boys.
Yeah, they do. Or even Summer Wells, I thought of, because, you know, she just disappears, you know, nobody knows where they are, and, you know, very little evidence she was abducted.
If y'all have questions, put them in all caps so that I
Yeah.
can see them, okay?
Meth is the drug here that addicts need money. Possibility that they sold her. Her clothes were gone and her toys were gone, he said, which does indication she was taken somewhere. To me, it looks like she packed up, because many kidnappers go and say where are the kids' toys and where are their clothing. You know, if they find out these parents did that, they belong under the jail, as we used to say. Deputies learned during investigation into Oakley's disappearance that the Bowers and the Carlson has allegedly not been providing medication to their 6-year-old daughter as required by the doctor for over a year. Both parents were charged with second-degree abandonment of the dependent person, which is a felony. And it says here the missing 5-year-old sister says, basically a sister said that she's no more. So the other kids, first off, they may have seen them, you know. They may have seen them do something to the child. I'm going to talk about meth here in a couple of minutes and what I know about it.
Right.
I mean, I know a lot about it. I worked with narcotics for like 20 years. In December, authorities with Fox News Digital told Fox News Digital that young siblings informed them that the girl is no more and had been eaten by wolves in the woods. Oakley's brother told law enforcement personnel during an interview that he had seen their mother beat Oakley with a belt and then had been worried about her starving. So apparently they didn't feed her.
How old were the siblings? Melmac wants to know.
I don't know exactly how old they were. Apparently they were young. The young boy also said Bowers would put Oakley in the closet, possibly under the stairwell.
Oh my gosh.
Man, I tell you what, there's some evil people in this world.
We don't know what goes on behind closed doors.
No.
And a lot of people at schools and stuff, the kids will make fun of the kid that seems to be odd or is shy or dirty or whatever. They don't know what that child's going through at home. And we don't know about the ones that never make it to public school or to out in the public at all. God.
And here's the basic thing it said. It said the search for Oakley has began after concerned citizens They had a concerned citizen, which we always say, if you see something, say something. They had a concerned citizen request that authorities do a welfare check on the child according to reports. Court documents revealed that Oakley's siblings shared concerning information with a detective regarding the sister's disappearance. The missing child's sister claimed her mother, Jordan, has told her not to talk about Oakley, and the mother also said she has gone out into the woods and had been eaten by wolves. Oakley, 9-year-old brother, so it's saying one of the brothers 9 years old, said he had witnessed Jordan beat Oakley with a belt and then worried about her starving. So 9-year-old even worried about her starving. Jordan had a criminal history and included felony convictions for drugs and theft. The father, Andrew Carlson, is a former police officer who was decommissioned in 2017 after making false and misleading statements. Well, that's that describes me, knowing, me being retired and all. Oakley's foster parents, who had not been seen in 2 years, felt that the decision to send her back to the birth parents was rushed. Um,
Her foster parents haven't seen her in 2 years.
oh, I'm sorry. I misspoke there.
Her
He had
foster
not
parents.
seen her in 2 years. They figured it was rushed. The foster mother, Jamie Howells, said she told social services the placement was not safe. Here's one thing is the court wants the child to be back with the natural mother, the birth mother, often as soon as possible, because they believe the nurturing of the child in a normal family is best, provided that there's not any unsafe practices in that home. Which, if you have a meth lab in your home, then yes, to me that's that's unsafe. That's a hint that might be unsafe. I remember we were on surveillance detail, me and my partner, and we were watching the house. We had some information. There was a meth lab there, and the girl was sitting in a chair in the front yard, and we call it tweaking when she was just real moving her head back and forth, looking up in the air, just really doing. We knew right away by watching this girl that she was on methamphetamine. So we decided to do what they call a knock and talk. We didn't have enough to get in the house on a search warrant. She went back into the house, waited till she went back in the house, went up there and knocked on the door. She answered the door. We said, we need to talk to you about a complaint we had about this, possibly a methamphetamine lab being in. I knew we didn't go into it right then. She said, come on in, which was just for a way for us to come in. And we came in there, and as we were sitting on the couch, I noticed by looking into the kitchen that the kitchen table had white powder residue all over the kitchen table. I mean, it wasn't sugar and it wasn't salt. I mean, you could see, looked like it might have been meth. So my partner asked her, do you mind if we explain what we had? She said, there's not a meth lab in the house. Do you mind if we do a walkthrough to make sure if you're telling us the truth? You don't have to, but do you mind? And she said, oh, no, go ahead. So we had her sign a sheet saying it was all right for us to walk through the house and just do a visual walkthrough, open the closets and all that, and make sure there wasn't a lab. He checked the whole back of the house, didn't find anything, went to the closet in the room that we were in, opened it up, shut it, and told me, we have a lab in here in the closet. So we immediately placed her under arrest, got her out of the house. We initially got out of the house because of the possibility, one, they explode, two, they're very, very toxic. And then we notified our methamphetamine team that had came with a gas mask and the tanks on their back, and I mean it's a pretty scary thing. And then they go in and disassemble it, and then you have to call somebody to come down from Birmingham, which at the time was about a 5 hour drive, 4 or 5 hour drive. They'd come down and take it off. There was contractors that come down and take the hazardous material away. But I'm sure they were kids living in that house.
Okay.
I didn't see any at the time.
There's a couple of questions. Alexandra said, did someone search the wooded area around the house? Pretty sure the police would have done that.
Yeah, I would think that the police would, but there's very little very little information because one,
When was she last seen?
when somebody does a welfare check, she was last seen positively in February. They reported it in December.
Okay, a year
Somebody
ago.
came in December. So they come up when you do a welfare check. We normally did welfare checks on elderly people or people that had been living in a house and maybe hadn't been seen, or maybe that say you don't report to work tomorrow morning and then you don't report to work the next day and you never call in. Some of your boss, especially if you don't call in and say, hey, I'm sick, if you live alone or they can't get a hold of any of your people that live with you, your boss or whatever might call the police and say, hey, this person works for me, never been late, live by themselves, never been sick much. Can y'all just go out and do a welfare check? So when you do that, the police will go out there, they'll knock on the door, try to get somebody at the door and find out if you're all right. They'll look in the windows, but they cannot forcibly go in the house unless they see something through the windows, like we have done as we've looked in the windows and we see feet laying in a room or see somebody on the floor, and then have to forcibly get into the door and often find them dead from natural causes more like than others. But I remember a case, getting away from this, but to show you, we had a domestic at a house on third shift. Well, one of my best friends was on first shift. He gets a call they get a call about daylight, a welfare check. There was some type of disturbance out there. Neighbors heard gunshots. They went out there. They went around to the back. They go to the back of the house and the door standing open. Well, when they looked kind of in the door, they could see somebody laying in the floor. Go in, they find a double murder suicide. They find 3 people dead. But unless you see something, you can't go in that house unless there's, like, say you don't show up for work and your mother's concerned, or the landlord has a key and he says, I will let you in to check if they're okay. Then they can provide entry to you. Or if you smell something, like we had a case where somebody had not been seen in 30 days and when I entered the home, there was a horrific smell in the home. But it turns out it was not a body. It was the fact that they had cut the electricity off and the freezer and stuff was sitting there full of food and it was rotten, and that was the smell. Thank God there wasn't anybody dead in the house. But there's other signs, and I'm not going into a lot of the gross stuff, but police officers, I mean, we have seen certain type of flies in the house on the windows prior to us going into the house, so we could pretty much tell somebody was not living. But they did a welfare check, and the parents said, we haven't seen her in a month. Now you got a little kid, 5-year-old, and the parents are saying, we haven't seen her in a month. Well, where is she? We don't know. They had no explanation for where she was. So they end up, excuse me just a minute. They end up arresting them basically for child abandonment because you have no explanation for where your children are. I mean, you think about that. Somebody comes into your police, somebody reports your kids, one of your kids missing. Haven't seen him playing outside with the other kids. Have not maybe saw the family leave multiple occasions, never seen the child get into the van, so they're concerned. So they basically call the police and say, look, I don't know if something's up or not. I just haven't seen this child in a year, a month, or good 2 months, or whatever. Can you please do a welfare check? Then the police will come. They will knock on the door and they will say, we get this complaint. We haven't seen your child. You mind getting all your children out here and let us, Of course, I'll be honest with you. If they do not want to and they say, look, it's none of your business. All of my children are fine. Unless you have a warrant, don't come back. Bye. See you. And shut the door. Well, that's it. You can't do anything unless you have some type of warrant. But in this case, they could, because remember, the children were taken away at one time and placed into foster care and then returned. So child welfare had jurisdiction to come back into the house and make sure everybody was okay. But apparently the parents are not talking about where they were last seen, or what the where the kids are, when they were last seen, or anything. So if you don't have parents cooperating in that sense, then they're going to have to build a case on the information that the children have provided, and hopefully someone out there knows something about it. One of their meth friends. Hopefully this is what happens. I'll tell you. Hopefully one of their trusted meth friends that knows something will get arrested. And they have the threat to send them in jail for 20 or 30 years. And they will come forward and say, hey, I'll tell you this if you give me a deal. And then they'll supply the information of where the child is. And hopefully, again, the child is not deceased. It's not looking good, the fact that nobody's seen the child, and it's not looking good that the mother tells the siblings that she went in the woods and got eaten by wolves. I mean, what kind of mother would even if...
Unless they were trying to scare the kids out of going out in the woods.
Well, you wouldn't tell them it's your sister.
I wouldn't, but I'm not a meth head either.
I mean, even if they were trying to scare them from not going to the woods, why would they tell them that their sister had been eaten by wolves?
Well, trying to scare
the
stew out of them,
I don't
but
care.
They're meth
That's
heads.
not.
They're not normal.
No, they're not.
Also, Alexandra said there was also a sketchy house fire happened, possibly from cooking meth in the microwave, allegedly.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you, for a while they were meth labs exploding everywhere, and when they were doing a lot of meth, they would having a lot of labs.
And for those of you who have grandkids and children, here we're staying at my family's property right now in Albertville, Alabama. They've had on the news out of Huntsville that the kids are coming to school with some candy that has laced with something.
It's called Fly High. It says Fly High on the front. It's got THC with a line and 0 on it. But apparently it does have some type of synthetic marijuana inside of it, and they're gummy bears.
Yeah,
so
don't.
I mean, I would tell my kids not to take any candy. The biggest threat right now in the United States as far as the drug issue is fentanyl. Fentanyl's being laced in everything from cocaine to marijuana to everything, and
Didn't we hear on the news there's been 100,000 deaths since the beginning of the year?
Something like that. It was way up there.
We've got more deaths from this stuff coming in from China and Mexico than anything.
Yeah, well, fentanyl mostly comes from China.
But it comes through Mexico.
It comes through Mexico to get here.
Yeah.
But the thing with meth is a lot of these people, this family actually they had their own lab and they were exposing their kids. Kids were living in the same house that they had a meth lab in, which is just crazy. But a lot of times they'll do it at motel rooms and everything. But when because meth is a homegrown drug, it's not a drug you can still. Mexico makes a lot of the high end meth, and they're taken to the country. But because these backyard chemists don't want to drive to Atlanta or get pay for a lot of it, what they'll do is they'll hire people actually to go out and get pseudoephedrine cold medicine. But used to, you didn't have to sign for it or anything. They'd keep a log at the pharmacy. But now you are tracked on the computer, and you can't have but a certain amount of purchase per month, or they'll flag you. Look up about Livia Fowler.
She's the one that was walking down the road in Georgia.
Yeah, I know. Have you checked any
Yeah.
information on
I
her?
was fixing to tell Kimberly we reported on her a couple of weeks ago, something
Yeah.
like that. We reported on her not too long ago.
Let's see, is it new?
Let me see if there's
Saw
anything new
y'all
on her.
once before. Glad. Okay.
Yeah, we've already reported on
Yeah,
her.
we had her.
once.
We had her cousin, our good friend, on here too, online.
Did we?
Yeah, we had her that night. She came
Okay.
on also.
Yeah, we had somebody in the family online.
Yeah,
with us that
absolutely.
night.
We did have someone come online and talk about her. And yes, we are still keeping an eye on that situation.
There's been no news in the past 24 hours. Let me look at the past month.
She says her ex-boyfriend was been arrested.
Really?
Was he arrested for the disappearance?
Because there is nothing
Because
on here
there's
about
nothing
it.
online about it.
Not right now, anyway.
Put it in there. Ex-boyfriend arrested.
Okay.
Let's see if there's anything
All right,
comes
let me
up.
see.
But when I went to a drug school in Meridian, Mississippi, where they made meth right there. Basically, showed us. I was stealing mail. He got arrested stealing mail. Meth
Not for that.
is a homegrown drug. In fact, where we're staying in this county is Marshall County, Alabama. It was known. It's on Sand Mountain, and it was known as Meth Mountain for probably 10 years because so many meth labs were up here. Because it's very rural, and be honest with you, meth is extremely easy for somebody to make. It is very dangerous to make because there's 2 or 3 different ways to make it. There's a red phosphorus way, and a red phosphorus it develops a gas when they make it out of red phosphorus, and you can die just by inhaling the gas. And then there's they make it with anhydrous ammonia, which is another extremely dangerous thing. It's very, very explosive. So, there's a whole lot of different ways they make it, but, it's a very sad situation with this little girl. We'll talk about Olivia in just a second.
If you know her mother and her mother wants to come on and talk
we
about
do.
her, that would be great.
I think her friend said that she had some drug issues in the past. But I'll be very honest with you. We do report on them no matter what, if they have drug problems or not. Said Jackson County, Arkansas was in People magazine for meth. Yeah, it had a police officer on the wrong side of the law. Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you, meth. A lot of the meth now, the meth problem. There used to be more of the local labs, and there's still a lot of little labs. But the big meth problem right now is coming out of Mexico, Atlanta, Chicago, some of the bigger cities, because one of the largest meth labs discovered in America was discovered in Atlanta about 4 or 5 years ago, and it was run by the Mexican cartel. But they had bought a house over there, paid cash for the house, and were making meth in a lab big enough. They said if it exploded, it would blow the whole block up. It was so big. But they were using big 55-gallon drums of pseudoephedrine and stuff. So that's how it is. But meth is a serious problem. It's very highly addictive. And if you go out and you're around a lot of people, especially anybody on drugs, and they start to see pop marks on their face, or their teeth are rotting out, that is a sure sign they're on meth. It just is. Yeah, we would love for Olivia to be found for sure. The thing that scares me about this is this little girl could have been sold for money, could have been had one of their perverted drug friends, maybe couldn't have kids and they let them have her. But the thing is, she could have been molested, raped, kidnapped, killed. We don't know. And until they establish some evidence of where she may be, then all we have got on this is to make more people aware of this little girl. It's because she hadn't been seen the 1st of 2001, reported missing in the end of 2001. There has not been a lot of media coverage on her. So I would really love for more people to be in reporting on this. I mean, we're just talking about, here it is March. We're talking about 3 months down the road from when she was, this thing made the news to start with. So there's still hope anyway. I thought I had a picture, I had saved it on Olivia, but I don't. Does anybody have anything else on this girl? If y'all heard anything about her, or you got a couple of deadbeat parents that drug addicts, and they're not going to tell you where she's at, especially if they killed her. So I want to check one thing here, and I'll come back with you on Michael Vaughn. Have anybody heard anything on him? That's the one we know. He was a pretty much, we can say that he's probably abducted. I didn't want to say here, he was last seen in July, and he disappeared. From this town of 5,300 people. So, you're talking about a very, very small town.
It is a small town.
Um,
Y'all, Tommy, can I suggest that it's 5 years since Michael Chambers? Can we visit that case next week?
yeah, if you remind me, because
Okay,
I might
guys,
forget.
y'all do some research so that you come in next week knowing. We already did one story on Michael Chambers, but this is a case that just will not let me sleep too good. If you get a chance, go and search Michael Chambers missing and read and watch the videos that you can about his missing case, and come on next week and let's brainstorm and see if we can figure out anything.
Let me know what y'all think.
I know what
about
I think.
And remember to share this.
There should be somebody in jail.
Yeah, remember to share information on Michael Vaughn, Monkey here in this car, and if you're in that area of Idaho. So one little child that we're pretty sure he was abducted. So
and he could have been abducted, and they changed his haircut. They gave him bald cut and then colored his hair. Yeah,
Uh,
Brittany, yeah, you and I are thinking on the same wavelength there, girl.
What's that?
She said his wife,
Whose wife?
Michael Chambers' wife.
Yeah, there's a lot of suspects that I think the police maybe overlooked.
Yeah, but that's an interesting case, and it's a case that I would like to keep in the, keep updating it because it's something that needs to be investigated better.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna show y'all something here. I don't know what happened to it.
Kimberly said Ember Stubbs was murdered in Stockbridge, Georgia. Ember Stubbs.
And who is that? Because I'm not familiar with that. Ember Stubbs.
I guess it's body.
Oh, you're talking about. Are you talking about the girl that went missing in the? No. I'm thinking about somebody else.
The mother of missing Clayton County woman is hopeful but heartbroken after police told her they found her daughter's identification near a decomposed body in Stone.
Yeah, I've read too. Also, there was a police found a dismembered body of a missing female. Hunters did, and so
there are so
there's
many
so many that have been discovered of late. Because as more people populate the United States, we've had an influx of so many people from all over. You may walk up on something or whatever.
There's a highway that's being built in Washington D.C. area where they were putting up part of a highway and dug up bones that had been buried, and it was in the middle of a separation between the north.
Well, we actually, when I was working on the Gulf Coast down there, we had somebody that went down there on vacation on the beach, and in the surf found a femur bone about this long, and didn't know what it was. Called police patrol, went down there and took it. They turned it into our Department of Forensic Sciences in Mobile, and it turns up it was a human bone. And they did a DNA test on it and found out it was from a missing guy that fell off a oil rig like 15 years ago or 10 years ago. It was a good while ago anyway. So, I'm sure that the big fishies in the ocean out there probably ate on him, and for whatever reason, one of his bones floats up on the shore. It may have got dried out and was actually floating, but they can still pretty much
wash up on the Gulf all the time.
Well, I have found we were looking for a guy, and we were walking on top of an area of wooden bridge, kind of like over a swamp, and we found some bones down there below in there, looked like where the gators had been, but they turned out to be animal. But you just never know.
I hope I never run up on a dead body.
From that So Deadly. Share them, please. There are so many illicit drugs out there that, fentanyl's the number one right now, but it could be anything.
Remember the crocodile?
Mm-hmm.
We watched a show on one of the I don't know what it was, but anyway, it was on crocodile. It's a drug that's been created in Russia, and the doctor was in a hospital with a bunch of people who had this. And what this drug does, it eats you from the inside out. And there was actually, I'm not lying, there was actually a woman's arm laying like this, and all of this area right here, all the way to here, there was no skin or muscle. Just the bones. The doctor took the forceps and clean, and it was eating her muscles and her skin and everything. and she's still doing it. She couldn't stop.
Yeah, and methamphetamine was, we believe it was basically discovered and invented by Hitler. Hitler, the way I understand it, was that Hitler used it to try to get his soldiers so they could fight like 24/7. Because when you're doing meth, what will happen is it heightens the whole system. And I've seen meth addicts, they'll be up 24, 48 hours straight, and then they'll crash and they'll actually sleep like for 16 hours straight. But they're up for long periods of time. They'll be what they call tweaking. It just, and that's why a lot in the older times, truckers would use meth so they could stay up and drive like for 10, 12 hours straight. Now, I don't want a truck driver out on the road that is high on methamphetamine driving down the road.
Tell about that guy you read about today with the coffee, the caffeine.
Oh yeah, there was a guy. I forgot where it was at. It wasn't in the United States. He mixed up a bunch of coffee beans and was trying to get a strong cup of coffee, and ended up drinking a mixture that ended up being as potent as 200 cups of coffee, and he died. It caused his heart to get out of rhythm, and he died. So,
If y'all get a chance, look on YouTube and see if there's not something on there about crocodile, because I know it had left Russia and was coming to other countries. I heard it was in 27 states in America.
but a lot of drugs too that are abused are used in medical field. Cocaine, ketamine is used in veterinarians. They use ketamine to knock animals out to do surgery and stuff. Well, people use and abuse ketamine. A lot of the type drugs. I know PCP at first they were trying to get it to use it as a elephant type tranquilizer, and then people started abusing it, and it's total. They don't even use it anymore.
Kimberly said a man was asleep at the gas pump at a gas station the other day. Tommy knocked on the window.
Yeah, I walked up on a guy in the parking lot of Publix, and Publix is halfway. I mean, it's a pretty decent grocery store, and we parked beside this guy. He's asleep right there in his car, and I'm like, what the heck is he? In this middle of the day,
Was he asleep or dead?
I thought maybe he was dead, so I knocked on the window, and he looked up. I said, "You okay? You okay?" He said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And then he laid there, boom. And then I said, "Okay, he's drunk. He's probably drunk." So I went in there and told people, I said, "Look, I think you got a guy out here that's probably drunk. He's either DUI, drunk, whatever." I said, "You might want to call the police and let them come by and look at him." But I don't know whether they did or not.
Wow. Kimberly said, I picked up a young girl to help her. She didn't even know where she was. I pulled over where a police officer, and they took her to the hospital.
Yeah. The thing is,
that may have been a child that had been trafficked.
Yeah, I went to a house once on a search warrant. It was they were shooting. They were shooting Dilaudid, which Dilaudid is a serious painkiller used from everything from migraine headaches to cancer. And these people will crush them up, and they'll shoot them in a shot needle. Synthetic heroin's all it amounts to is the high they get. Well, she was actually no needle marks anywhere on her. She was passed out, but they found out she was shooting it under her tongue.
Oh.
Shoot it under her tongue, shoot it between their toes, fingers.
Oh my gosh.
Shoot it in their growing area, anywhere they don't want to be seen.
The needles are killing me.
You know why I don't like needles now? I would be every time I give the blood, I tell them I'd be a horrible drug addict because I hate needles.
Her lips were so dry and busted. Her feet were so dirty. changed my life and broke my heart.
Yeah, and
I know
Yeah.
that feeling. I've picked up several young ladies on the road.
all you can do is help them out, pray for them.
Okay, Olivia's Army's on here, Kimberly.
Yeah, any news on Olivia? Olivia's Army, any news on Olivia? Anything at all?
Kimberly told us that the boyfriend had been arrested, but it was for mail fraud or something like that, stealing mail or something. Not about Olivia. Thanks for popping in, by the way.
Yes, we'd love to bring awareness to her every day that we can. I'm gonna see if I have strong enough internet to pull up what I was doing on her.
Be still, Maggie. I'm waiting on Olivia to answer. Whoops.
One second, y'all.
He's trying to get something to show y'all. Olivia's Army. Do you have any news at all? Any new news? And did you reach out to the other YouTube channels like we told you to, and maybe to the governors? I think we told you about contacting the governor for a
Reward.
We talked about a lot of things.
Let me pull this up if I can.
Anybody seen Sergeant Melinda lately? We have not seen her. Julie's been contacting us. We just need to continue to pray for Julie and Doc.
And this is
Yeah, there's
poster here telling a little bit about her being missing, and where from, and the time that she was.
Manchester, Georgia. Where is Manchester, Georgia? Is that the northern part or southern? What area is that? I didn't realize she had left at 2 a.m. in the morning. There was one that left in the afternoon. Who was that?
I have so many on them on there. I don't know.
No, but there was in Georgia too. Okay. Olivia's Army is not answering, so I don't know.
Okay, but anyway, she is, as far as we know, still missing.
Yes, she is.
And the reason why I think Olivia's Army told me before, there was some indication that maybe she had a drug problem, and that's why the police weren't taking it seriously or not. I don't know about that. I don't know law enforcement in that area. It wouldn't matter. To me.
It's just like when we reported on the girl in Georgia that's missing, that's transgender. It doesn't matter. She's a person or he's a person, whatever. They are a person that needs to be found.
Yeah, and only thing, if you can say somebody was on drugs and went missing, that opens up a whole, as the saying goes, a whole nother can of worms, because people have been known to go off on what they call a drug binge and be gone for like 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and or they may OD'd in somebody's house, and somebody freaks out about her ODing and dying, or I'm just saying, and then they may get rid of her the body that way. But regardless, it needs to be investigated. It needs to be looked into.
And to me and Tommy, any person that's missing deserves to be found. They are somebody's child, somebody's mother, brother,
Listen,
sister.
there are a lot of people out here doing exactly what we do. There's all kinds of other YouTubers and Adventures with a Purpose, and about 3 or 4 other people that dive all these rivers.
Amazingly.
Yeah, I would love to. Back in the day, I was a diver, and I would have loved to have done something like that. But you got to have your stuff together to do that, because diving in a river is very dangerous. I have dove in the ocean and Florida Springs, where your visibility is like forever. You see 100, 200 yards underwater. And I have dove in rivers where you couldn't see your hand this far in front of your face. Those are the ones that are very, very dangerous. So it's a very dangerous job what they're doing, and they do a good job at it. Um, Several other people that I follow like that. I'd heard once that Adventures with a Purpose may be getting some type of TV show
I would love
on
to watch it.
Discovery, but I don't know. Nothing ever panned out into that area, so I don't know
I
if
hope
that
they
was
do.
true or not. But anyway, we are going to still follow this case.
And next week, y'all come prepared to discuss Michael Chambers. It's been 5 years since he went missing.
Yeah, we need to absolutely
Turn up the heat.
feature that again.
Yep.
So we're going to go and try to
Wait.
do some stuff on this RV.
Okay, but let's end the story. Let's end the thing with something funny.
Okay.
Okay, I got something funny.
Okay.
So this couple checks into a hotel, and they're up on the balcony, upstairs in the top floor, and they all of a sudden they get into a fight, and the woman's screaming and yelling at her husband, throwing things, and she told him she hated him, and she said, "I hate you so much that I want to jump out this window." Well, he goes downstairs and he gets the manager to the desk, and he says, "Look, we've got a problem." He said, "My wife is mad at me." And he said, "Ain't my problem." And the guy said, "No, you don't understand. She's throwing things." He said, "Ain't my problem." He said, "Man, my wife hates me." The manager said, "That ain't my problem." He said, "She wants to kill herself." The manager said, "Ain't my problem." And he said, "Man, you don't understand. This is your problem." Manager said, "Why?" He said, "Because I can't get the window open."
She heard that actually on Dry Bar. It's on it's videos on YouTube, and they're funny, and they're most time no cussing at all in them, and they some of the funniest stuff. Really, really funny. So listen, we love you guys. Thanks for stopping by tonight. Keep up. Check in on Michael Chambers. We'll cover him next week or whenever we can get together. Me and Anthony have still not put me and Tony have still not put our show together.
Tony
We are
and I.
working. Tony and I are working on that, but right now, this week has been kind of crazy. I'm trying to get everything together for Dina to leave tomorrow
He's
morning.
going to be on his own, y'all, and I hope I don't come home to a trashed RV.
How much can I trash? So, 400 square feet?
You can trash all 400 square feet. Y'all pray for him and pray for me.
All righty. Y'all have a great night. We love y'all guys. See you next week.
Good night. Bye,
Bye.
y'all.